Okay, this is the first of a set of videos which I'm hoping to make, basically documenting and cataloguing the stuff that I've got in my house. I've got a whole load of tech that I find personally interesting, stuff I've usually picked up for a few pounds from boot sales and what have you, found out how they worked, fixed them up in the main. Some of the things I'm going to show probably won't be working, but stuff that's not around these days. The first thing I'm going to show is, purely because it's on my table at the moment, is this reel-to-reel tape recorder. This dates from the early 1960s, and it was a means of being able to record and play back sound, which we take for granted today, but was actually, a reasonably technologically, breakthrough thing in the middle of the century. It uses magnetic tape to record sound in mono. This is a reel of tape. It's can I show you it? Here we go. Yeah, it's just plastic tape. I don't know if you can see, but it's shiny on that side. That's just the tape, and then on the other side, it's got a coating of this brown magnetic. Can I get a bit of a shot of it? This brown magnetic oxide, and that's what actually is used to record the sound. So, very much like a cassette recorder, which you may have seen in the 80s and 90s, this was the previous version. As the tape recorders evolved, they obviously become lighter, simpler, cheaper to make, but not in this point. This is a particularly heavy machine. Okay, it needs to be because of how it's built. The amplifiers in here are what's known as valve technology, which basically means it contains what look like glass bulbs with vacuums in them. They run at very high voltages. They run at reasonably high temperatures, and that is what is used to make the electronics part of this. In terms of the mechanical side of this, the main thing to make a good tape recorder, good sound, is to have the tape moving through in a constant, regulated and smooth speed. And to do that at this time, it meant building things heavy. So there's big synchronous motors in here. There's big heavy flywheels, and this is what's used to make it work. Okay, so now for a demonstration. Basically, the tape runs from left to right. You have to manually thread these machines, unlike the later cassette recorders where you just pop the tape in. With these, you have to actually put the tape across the heads. The bit that actually reads the magnetic information off the tape is in here. Okay, so you run it from there to there. Now, this particular machine then has a keyboard style operating mechanism. Fast forward makes this one spin, rewind makes this one spin, start makes it play, which is the bit where it runs at the regulated speed and switches on the amplifier. Stop button, that's a pause button, and then this is a micro button, which, to be honest with you, I don't know exactly how or what that does. Now, as I said, this can record and play back sound. In order to make it record, you have to push down this button here and then press the start button. Unfortunately, I don't have a microphone for this machine, but I have made some recordings using the line-in function. Okay, so let's switch it on. Motor kicks in, and then I press play. Now, even when this red tape at the beginning, this is just known as leader tape, and the music can't be recorded on here, but music can be recorded on the magnetic brown tape. Now, although there is something on the tape at the moment, because it's valves and because the valves haven't reached their temperature yet, you can't hear anything. But when the valves warm up, there we go, you get to hear the music coming out. So we've got a volume control. Okay, I can then fast forward. and that's basically it. So you've got a tone control here, you've got a volume control here. Interestingly, when you press rewind, what it actually does, I don't know if you see it, but the whole spool moves to the right, and when you press fast forward, the whole spool moves to the left, and that's because the motor's in the middle, and basically you're just shoving the spools against the motor underneath, and that's what makes it go fast and rewind. There is a counter on this one. Now, one interesting little feature when you're recording with this machine, unfortunately I can't demonstrate it, but there's a little window on the front, and you'll see two green bars, one on the left and one on the right. Now this is a valve. You know, I was saying these little glass devices that make the electronics work. This is a valve, and on this particular valve, though, it lights up this green phosphor, and what that's for is when you're making a recording, these green phosphor patches will move, and when they cross over in the middle, that means that you've got the best recording volume, because you can alter the volume manually on this machine, and so therefore when you see them crossing, that means you know you've got the right volume. But like I say, this is a valve, and if you look a little bit off to one side, you'll see this little orange patch, and that is the actual heater in the valve that makes it work. So that heater is heating a strip of metal coated with a special substance which allows it to emit electrons, and these electrons then travel through the vacuum of space inside the valve, smash against the phosphor, and that's what gives you the glow in the dark. But the whole machine, the amplifiers, the sound is all generated in a similar fashion with these heated cathodes. In fact, I'll show you one. This is the type of magic. This is not actually one out of the machine. This is the type of magic that makes it work. So in the bottom, you've got a, well, not in the bottom, but inside the valve, you've got a heater. Like I say, it's emitting these electrons. Electrons attracted to a cathode. There's something called a grid in between, and by altering the grid, you can alter the amplification, and that's how it works. That's how the whole machine works. So there we have it. The Grundig, in this particular case, a Grundig TK14 mono tape recorder.